Hello, Happy New Year everybody. It's 12/31/2020 and it's almost the close of trading today. Before we close out the new year, we want to talk about Tesla, which we thought was going to be pretty quiet after the S&P addition going into 1218, which was almost 2 weeks ago now. But today, and you can see over the last 5 days, the stock has really had quite a move from 660 up into 700. And what's so interesting that we want to talk about today was the gamma-based move. That the stock traded well over 1 million calls yesterday. It was very active again today and traded up to 715, 718 area. And then kind of into the close, it really pulled down. It sold off pretty hard, right down into 700. And what's interesting about this, when we'll talk about it, is that this was a fairly predictable pin, even though it didn't feel like it up here. But if you watch the options data, you can see that this happens time and time again in the stock. And if you look at our Equity Hub application here, again, if you go to Spot Gamma, you can get a free trial of this. This allows you to search 3,500 different stocks and ETFs. And if you bring up Tesla, you can see yesterday I was at 648, so it was already in the area as of the close yesterday. But what's so interesting about it is that you can see that the 700 area is what's called the high gamma strike. And so you'll see here we have this hedge wall, but we also have the key gamma strike. I just call it high gamma strike. This is telling you where the most options are concentrated. Another thing to note here is that the top gamma expiration is 12/31. This is telling you that there's a bunch of calls expiring today, which is 12/31. A lot of those calls are at 700 strike, and we also note significant hedging at 700. So all this is telling you that there is a big focus or a big force looking to move this thing down to 700. And so if you look at this very interesting new design that we have for our Equity Hub charts, you can see that this is an indication of momentum or of volatility. And so we have a high volatility as the name moves up, which is basically what happened today. We're high volatility up and down, right? This is what this is telling you. But we also need to note that this momentum is in the context of this big force. If we look and see how many options are expiring at that strike today, let's take a quick look. Sorry, everybody. It's New Year's Eve, and y'all got better things to do than wait on me to look this up. Yep, so we had 33,000 calls expiring today, the 700 strike. This is a pretty wild figure. We had 130,000 700 strike calls trading volume today, and another 113,000 puts. So that's 250,000 options that traded today tied to the 700 strike in Tesla. And so it's no real wonder that it kind of came down and pinned this area again due to that force. This is really pretty amazing, the daily volume that takes place in this thing. And the other thing to note about this pin is that as this name stalls out, there's this idea of charm, and what charm is sort of tied to the delta hedging or the removal of deltas based on time. So basically what that's trying to say is that as we get closer to expiration, these calls, any calls that are up here, right, 720, 730, I mean, today there was several 100,000 calls trading above this level, this strike level. Those all decay, assuming those aren't closed. All those positions are decaying. So if you assume those are kind of long calls to start the day, then the net force, if those are net long calls, dealers net short calls, the net force is going to be stocks selling, dealer hedge unwind down, tied down into this level. So we think that's kind of what the force was today. We know a lot of people trade Tesla on an active basis, and this is an idea that you should really pay attention to, because week after week, the next Friday's expiration is the biggest expiration in terms of gamma concentration, and the name will pin these significant levels with it's very common that happens. So at any rate, I hope that's helpful. Happy New Year. Good luck to you in 2021.